Look, he goes on to defend himself when he was asked about Hunter Biden's laptop. We were all told, of course, this was Russian disinformation until it came out that it was actually true. But this is what he had to say about it.
When they say Hunter Biden's laptop, what is it that they're talking about? Do you know?
Well, I know that your entire iCloud was connected to it, all of your personal text messages, private photos, all that kind of stuff.
Like everybody's laptop.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you left it with a repair shop owner. Particularly, I think the New York Post was involved in the spearheading of this mass dissemination of your private materials. From what it seemed like, it was a lot of private text between you and your friends, family. Your entire sort of private life was on there.
Everybody has a digital life. Almost everybody has a digital life. Everybody has a digital life, pretty much. And that includes voicemails and pictures and text messages and emails and location data and, you know, everything. Everybody, you do, everybody that is here right now. By whatever means, they got my digital footprint going back decades.
Oh, Hillary, everyone has a laptop. Only Hunter Biden's was filled with evidence of his drug use, sleeping with prostitutes, and of course contained evidence of influence peddling, all those details with his business meetings involving Ukraine, involving China, involving the big guy. But according to Hunter Biden, look, everyone has a laptop. Why are you looking at mine? It's absolutely outrageous. As you say, this is the former president's son. And this is a person who was found guilty of violating federal tax and gun laws, but of course received a pardon from his dad that dates back to January 2014, the year he joined Ukrainian energy company Burisma. I mean, if the Biden family name couldn't get any worse, any more damaged, I think Hunter might have just managed to do just that. What do you make of this?
I think you're right. And actually, something else I would suggest is the contrast between Hunter Biden actually and the Trump children. Let's look at give me the parent, I'll give you the child. It says actually a lot about Joe Biden that he has a son that turned out like this. And as we know, Joe Biden actually even has a granddaughter that he doesn't even acknowledge. Legitimate grandchild, but does not even acknowledge her while professing to be Catholic. But not only is his father obviously a hypocrite and somewhat crooked, that much evidence has demonstrated. Look at the Trump children. Look at how well-mannered they are. Look at how well-behaved they are. There's been none of these scandals whatsoever. No photograph. There's none of this. I think that says a lot about the families, the values, and how Joe Biden raised his son.
Excellent point. Well, let's look at Trump's 6 months. It's interesting. He's been criticised for obviously plenty of things, but one thing in particular would be tariffs. But just a week after he signed the big, beautiful bill into law, the US government posted a budget surplus for June, partly due to Trump's tariff policies. The June 2025 budget recorded a surplus of over $27 billion. What's your take on this?
Oh, you said partly due to it. I wonder where any other money has come from. I think, Gabriella, it's all due to the tariffs because this is revenue that has come obviously externally. And this is great for the American taxpayer. Back to 1870, they actually even had to establish a blue ribbon commission to determine how to spend all the money that the US generated from tariffs. I think we could end up being in a somewhat of a similar position to that. There weren't even any income taxes until the First World War. So I think the tariffs thus far have been a tremendous success. You have seen every nation that he's been engaged with coming to the table. You're seeing the EU capitulating at the moment. I think there'll be a flood of deals soon. And very importantly, I think for the American consumer, all the skeptics said, well, this is going to be passed on to the consumer. Well, the consumer certainly hasn't stopped spending. So I don't think so.
I want to talk to you about the latest on the Epstein files. Although Donald Trump called it a hoax, it appears that Donald Trump is listening to the uproar. At Attorney General Pam Bondi's direction, the Department of Justice formally moved to unseal long secret grand jury transcripts from the Jeffrey Epstein case. Now, this comes just a couple of days after Lara Trump publicly said that more might be coming out. My take on this is the administration is clearly listening and responding. But it's interesting, despite the backlash to how this has been handled, Trump's approval rating is very strong.
I think this one surprised me a bit because of all these complaints online going after Trump and the Epstein files. You might think his approval ratings were going down, Republicans. If anything, They're going up. Republicans who approve of Trump, look at our CNN poll. The prior one, 86%. The one out this week, 88% were Republicans. How about Quinnipiac? The prior poll, 87% approve of Republicans. This week out, 90% with Republicans. If anything, Donald Trump's approval rating has gone up since this whole Epstein saga started. He is at the apex, or close there too, in terms of his popularity with Republican voters, Epstein files, complaints, or not.
Isn't it interesting, as much as some in the media have tried to use the Epstein files to really attack Donald Trump, just look at what CNN was reporting.
Yes, and I think it's really important, Gabriella, to pay attention to which network you mentioned. Exactly, it's CNN. If this was any of the more right-leaning networks, you'd say, oh, well, maybe. But I think this is really an important number that they would even report that. And if we could just make it very, very clear with regard to Donald Trump and his association with Epstein, if there had been any real dirt, Gabriella, don't you think the Democrats would have definitely surfaced it? Don't you think it would come out during the campaign? Of course it would have done. And also remember, he did know Epstein, and there are photographs of him actually with Melania with him at Mar-a-Lago. All of basically Palm Beach did things with him and had parties with him. But that was back in the 80s and 90s. You look at how young he was. After 2004, when there was a real estate deal where Trump outbid Epstein, before any of these convictions, President Trump, then Donald Trump, had nothing more to do with him after 2004.
Today, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard announced the release of more than 200,000 files related to the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. In response to an executive order from President Donald Trump, Tulsi Gabbard said that the American people have waited nearly 60 years to see the full scope of the federal government's investigation into Dr. King's assassination. She went on to say that under President Trump's leadership, we are ensuring that no stone is left unturned in our mission to deliver complete transparency on this pivotal and tragic event in our nation's history. And I extend my deepest appreciation to the King family for their support. But I want to turn to the UK now, because protesters have marched on a suspected migrant hotel in Essex after an asylum seeker was charged with sexual assault. Now, just look at the protesters. Protesters were heard chanting, "Save our kids," and some were holding up other signs. Let's just take a look.
Save our kids! Save our kids! Save our kids! Save our kids!
Very powerful message. Very powerful message.
Hillary, what more can you tell us about this?
Well, I think what was very important to focus on here is these are women. They're holding signs that definitely look very homemade. All the signs that everybody was holding were completely different. It wasn't like one of these organized kind of protests where some kind of company recruited people. So these are mothers that are concerned about their daughters. They're regular people. So I think it is so wrong to paint and portray regular tax-paying good citizens, these mothers, as far right-wing. No, they are concerned about their daughters. They're concerned about their community. And the fact that, and I'm going to be in the UK as of next week, and when I arrive at customs, if I was to say, excuse me, where's my free 5-star hotel, please? I'd be laughed at, or maybe I'll be jailed, so I won't try that joke. But really, Gabriella, this is the sense in the UK. This isn't right. This isn't fair to be spending taxpayers' pounds on migrants, providing free housing, free food for them, giving them iPhones, and giving them games and pleasurable activities while they're committing atrocious crimes. And what happened in Epping was there was you have to say alleged assault of a young, I believe, 14-year-old girl. These communities don't want that sort of crime.
No, of course, just horrific allegations there. Hillary Fordwich, thank you so much for joining us on Power Hour. Always a pleasure to speak with you.
Pleasure, Gabriella. Thank you.